case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Gaardsy, we were talking about connector players, particularly in the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Draymond Green, Dennis Rodman to a certain degree. Maybe, poor man's version of that with slow-mo as a connector. Where would we rate Christian Laettner as a connector?
Man.
He, I'm guessing, is referring to that other aspect of late, which had to do with some of the, locker room battles, loser, winner. College, he was a great player.
Yep.
But he also, I think, was a connector. He was a little bit of everything because a lot of stuff did run through him, even though they had his
player
point guard was Bobby Hurley, right?
Yep, Bobby Hurley. He had Grant Hill.
He had some really good talent around him as well. That's true. Good callback to days long gone by. What do we have?
Coveted cleanup. I was just so desperate to watch the Twins again tonight that when I was doing the tease, I said, well, the Twins are playing the Reds. It's got to be tonight. No, it's not tonight. It's tomorrow.
Off night?
Off day for the Twins.
We're licking our wounds after our setback yesterday.
Yes. So, because I'm sure we got some texts about that. People miss nothing. But the Twins are off today. They take on the Reds tomorrow night. Speaking of games tonight.
I don't know if this is good or bad, but there's not one text that came in to correct you.
Man.
Might be over.
Think it's over?
Or the boycott of the Twins is real. It's one or the other.
What is the date today, by the way? It's April 16th. Because there's no NBA games tonight.
Today is the 6th. That's correct.
There's no play-in games tonight.
That's correct.
All the games are tomorrow. Charlotte and Orlando and Golden State and Phoenix. And how did Golden State get there? With a thrilling 126-121. Wake up the echoes of prime Steph Curry last night at the Intuit Dome, or the Clippers' new arena, where it sounded like a Warriors home game at times, because that's kind of how they roll. Warriors are big brands now, right? And Curry scored 35 points in 36 minutes.
Now the Gaardsy was wrong texts are coming in.
They're
but I think they're not coming in until you brought it to their attention. They're literally just coming in now. Wrong. Gaardsy was wrong. Either they were delayed or they're now making it part of the bit.
Well, I appreciate that they're listening. It's like what you do sometimes and say, let us know where you're listening from.
Yeah.
And we get them from all over the world.
That's true.
Which is great.
It's kind of fun.
It was fun to stay up last night and watch Steph Curry.
Make up the echoes?
Even though it is funny, like you wonder how it would have turned out if David Kahn had just drafted him. I know that's not a new topic, obviously.
It wouldn't have turned out as good.
Well, by definition, it couldn't have.
Well, you would have been traded within 5 years.
Or Kahn would have had him do something stupid.
Yeah,
they would have brought in like a different coach or something. But it's crazy to think about how just basketball history would have been different in general, because Steph Curry, I don't think it's hyperbolic to say, changed basketball in the way that the floor is
not
spaced,
hyperbolic.
the way that he plays, the way that he shoots, just the unbelievable three-point shooting, maybe the best shooter of all time. So it was a fun night there. Charlotte and, as I pull up my standings here, I should say Philly and Orlando wasn't that exciting. The 76ers won by 12.
Orlando might run the clunkiest, most unsightly offense that I've seen in years and years and years. It's an absolute mess.
But if Richard Pitino had recruited Jalen Suggs, he would have come here.
Could have changed everything. That game was not entertaining, and it was actually quite unsightly. By the way, Curry, I think he scored, let me give you the totals here of his. He scored 11 of his game-high 35 points in the final 9 minutes. 126, 121, as you say, over the Clippers. And Kerr had the great quote, "This is why Steph came back." Everyone out there who thought Steph should take the rest of the year off, this is what he does.
He pounded the table when he said it.
This is who he is. He did, literally. He did the old, the pound.
It was sweet. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a great, an absolutely great moment for a team that's nowhere near equipped to go very far at this point with all of their injuries and their advancing age. But for the one night, it was terrific because the Clippers, after a terrible start, they were a formidable team or a better team, and they were playing at home. They had the wall there, and it didn't do them. And they were in complete control of the game until they weren't. And Draymond, the great connector, was outstanding, doing the little things he does, including harass Kawhi Leonard, who had this season, his highest scoring average of his career. That's how well he'd been playing. And he, I think, finished with 2 points in the fourth quarter in which Golden State mounted their comeback.
Say one of the nuggets, no pun intended, that I've noticed today, someone who covers the Nuggets and also hosts the All-City NBA pod with Legler and Mayers, Adam Mayers, was on Dane Moore's NBA podcast. And he expects Peyton Watson, who is usually the Anthony Edwards defender.
We were talking about, I mentioned him yesterday.
Yes. He expects Peyton Watson to miss the entire series.
He does.
That's what this reporter says. Now, he's not the team doctor.
No,
he's not Adelman's assistant, but he covers the team, and he told Dane that he expects him to miss the entire series. So I thought that was worth bringing up for Wolves Nuggets.
You know, yesterday we quoted Adelman, the coach, saying that the team was still hopeful that he was going to be available in the series, but he did also acknowledge, as of yesterday, he had not been cleared to play yet. And usually, unless you're doing some kind of, possum game, you're going to get that declaration earlier, aren't you? If indeed he is on the verge of coming back. And he is viewed as one of the wing guys who might at least offer a little defensive resistance against Anthony Edwards and the Wolves, because the Denver defense has not been state of the art this whole season. They're the top ranked offense in basketball. They outscore you, and they hope they can play just good enough defense in the postseason to make a little bit of a run. Our calling card is still defense, although it's not anywhere near. We're in the top 10. I think we finished 8th or 9th, which is top 10, but nowhere, certainly not what we were 2 years ago when we were number 1 and made our run.
The whole year, basically.
And not as good as it was last year either, so we'll see.
I wonder what the high-end, this edition of the Wolves, what their high-end defensive rating could be. You know what I mean? Like when they're all locked in.
Right.
I don't think it's number 1 like it was a couple years ago, but is it top 5? I would say probably, yes.
It might be. It would almost have to be. And a lot of that seems to depend on Edwards' inclination. And you'd think Edwards' inclination would be, this is it now. We can't mess around anymore. I have to lock in. If I want to be known as a two-way guy, which he can be, I got to do it. And I got to do it on not just 3 or 4 possessions in the second, or let's say the quarter, or the down the stretch of a game. I got to do it the whole game.
So the Wolves take on the Nuggets in Denver, 2:30 start on Saturday. You can hear every Timberwolves playoff game, of course, on the Timberwolves channel of your iHeartRadio app. We'll give you actual radio, KFAN, maybe even a news talk inclusion as we get them, because we don't know the entire Wild schedule. We do know that game 1 against Dallas will be 4:30 on Saturday. The league has been generous enough to let us know that. Hopefully we'll have the rest of the schedule later tonight, last day of the regular season for the Wild. We learned today that Quinn Hughes is sick. Quinnesota. And it's
still mysterious
today.
Though. Even Russo was mysterious about what the illness is. He said he didn't know what it was. I don't believe him.
Really?
Well, I mean, don't you think Russo knows everything?
He does.
You think he's got to protect it?
Probably.
For his sources?
Probably.
I want to know if it's stomach. Is it some virus like flu? Is it a stomach flu? And if it is, what was he doing flying with the team? I want to isolate him.
So the team flies tomorrow.
He also made it sound like stuff's been going through the whole team, though, or at least other, including Heinze. Didn't he say Heinze, too?
He did. So Quinn Hughes did not practice today, but indications are they think he's going to be ready for game 1 on Saturday. But that's the Wild news of the day. Our prized possession and acquisition, Quinnesota, is ill. That
wouldn't be good. And Russo believes that indeed the veteran will be the starter in goal for game 1. I think he argued my case beautifully, which is start the kid. But he thinks the decision has already been long made. So he doesn't think that the alarming performance the other night is going to have any impact if the decision was already made. But could you change your mind on that basis? I don't know. I don't like body language of Gus Bus right now. I don't like the way he's moving. I don't even like the way he's talking, according to Russo. I mean, that can be an overrated part of the discussion, but I would lean heavily. I don't even think it's a lean. I definitely would start the kid. And again, if he's terrible, then it'll be easily rippable. And if Gus Bus plays and pitches a shutout, I'll be the first to raise my hand and say they obviously made the right call at that point. And is it impossible that he could look good? He being, again, Gus Bus? No, it's not.
Right.
Hockey's a funny game, too.
It
and
is. Goalie's very funny.
They're up and down to a certain extent. But there's not much I see in the body of work lately that gives me much confidence that he should be the guy that you go to at the start of a series in which you can't cede anything. You have to give yourself every game best chance. Now, does that mean I think all we're going to see would be Volstead if he starts game one? No. Ultimately, you're going to probably need both goaltenders, but that's how I would set the tone.
Lavelle texted me.
We should have won that game.
The Dallas game?
3-1, 4-3, dominant in so many ways. We should have won that game. It may not have guaranteed we were going to have home ice, but there's games, we always talk about this. There's games where you go in and go, well, chip chair, it could go either way. But then on the basis of the way the game evolves and plays out, you go, you can't win, you can't lose that game. You have to win that game. And they didn't win that game, and I think it's because of the goaltending. Sorry.
Lavelle texted me that the Twins are off today. So the Twins will not play today. Not
playing today?
They will play tomorrow, but they might not play tomorrow. We got thunderstorms coming.
What?
Against the Reds.
Oh.
So there's that. All right, we're a little late. We should go.
I'm tired of the American League. I mean, the cross-pollination, the two playing the other league.
You're a throwback.
You love that stuff, don't you? It means nothing to me.
None of it really means anything to me.
Well, that's another story.
But Shohei's coming here this summer. Ohtani. You'll like it then, Dan.
Pitched 6 innings, gave up 1 run in his most recent start. First run of the season, he's given up. All right, let's come back, get to a couple of quick items, and then we will prepare for your letters via the Dr. Dan's inbox. Email Gaardsy if you still want to get in on all the activity, jg@kfan.com. Uncle D checks in via Inver Grove. I was positive I was making the right decision watching Ohtani pitch, and it was amazing. But I'm glad I missed Steph. So does he mean it's too painful still to watch Steph, even though he was brilliant and helped engineer the comeback? And I'm never going to rip somebody for wanting to watch Ohtani pitch. He did not even DH in that game, which I think in of itself is unusual.
Okay.
There was bitterness. This was in New York, I think. But he pitched 6 brilliant innings, gave up his first earned run of the season. And the Dodgers won again. Check the Dodgers record. Aren't they already like 13-4? Which, again, is no real surprise because they're loaded.
They are 14-4.
My apologies. 14-4. That's a pretty good... It could have a pretty good spot, is it not?
It is, and it looks like the Mets series was in L.A., so they played in L.A. last
I'm
week.
reminded by 612 guy, this is a good nugget, too. Clippers. So the Warriors come back and beat the Clippers in L.A.
Yeah.
That means OKC is in the lottery.
Yeah.
They've got the Clippers pick.
Yep.
And I think is it 6 or, I mean, it's slated as 6 or 7, I think. But then you still got a percentage chance to move up into the lottery.
The rich get richer.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
On the other hand, again, it's like you can get mad at OKC, but they make a lot of good moves, man. And you know what else they do? They develop their talent. Right? I mean, because we look at some of the players they have now, so look at all the talent they have. Not all those players were viewed as can't-miss talents. Maybe Holmgren. But
Holmgren
that's
was
about
picked
it.
2. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
SGA they got.
In the
Didn't they
Paul
get
George
him?
trade, I
Yeah.
think. Yep.
So, I'm just saying that they're easy. They're annoying because you get tired of them being as good as they are. I get that. But it's sort of hard to argue with the machinery of that organization and the way that they figured something out there. in a very unlikely spot, they figured something out, right? They figured out quite a bit. And that doesn't mean I think that they are unbeatable this time, although I think they ended up with, isn't it like 64, 65 victories? I think they won 64, right in that range. So, pretty amazing, actually.
But that the Clippers sending the pick, I mean, it really has to hurt because Kawhi was the one who basically forced the Paul George trade. That's
true.
Right? Said, if you can get Paul George, I'll come to the Clippers.
Yeah, you're right.
And so what did they give him? I think it was 5 first-rounders or something like that.
I don't remember the number.
I'm trying to look it up here on the fly. It was something crazy. And SGA, who was, a young player for the Clippers.
Not looked at, I don't think, around the league as, he's going to be the steal of the century. There may have been some people who were intrigued by what he represented, but I don't think it was unanimous that he was going to end up being a yearly MVP candidate. That's for sure. Let me get to a couple other texts, and then we'll get to the bottom of the hour break, and then your letters as well, which we look forward to. Fallness should do an hour pregame show in case I miss his appearance on Program Password. Is he on Program Password tomorrow?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It could very well be. I think it should be an extended pregame show. I don't know if that's the way it's set up. I'm not exactly sure.
I would imagine that it is. I would imagine we're going to do some kind of bonus. And obviously we'll have Beyond the Pond that day.
That's true.
So that won't be an issue. Some type of Beyond the Pond.
Bill Guerin's going to be with us tomorrow. Is that correct?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock tomorrow.
Yep.
And I've gotten nowhere. I've tried to reach out to Tim Conley. I'm not getting anywhere. So maybe I'll try one more time tonight. I'll try to either feed his ego or try to shame him. I don't know which approach makes more sense.
I don't know if any of them work.
It might not. And, we haven't caught up in a long time. Thought it'd be the perfect time to do it would be right before this thing starts getting going.
I don't think we've had him on all season.
We haven't. No, we have not had him. I think we had him on. The last time we had him on, was it preseason or was it not even then?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember. I something stuck in my head that we might have had him on once, but I don't think it was since the season began. I think you're 100% right about that. So we'll see where that goes. And I don't think, unless the story leaks tomorrow, which I don't think it's going to at this point, I don't think Guerin's going to crack either. I think it's unlikely. We'll have some fun with him, but I don't think it's he's going to crack. I mean, somebody brought up while we were on with Russo, is it possible that, again, I don't think Guerin's making the decision. I really don't. I think, he's got a vote. I think he's got some interest. But would the team be, because they just signed him to the longer-term deal, he's the veteran guy, does that mean they're going to automatically defer, or that Guerin might be more inclined to recommend that they defer and go in that direction? I don't know. Maybe they look at some stats, and maybe they look at some things we don't. Maybe they have some analytics that are different than what the naked eye seems to reveal. But to me, it reveals a no-brainer of a decision that it should be Volstead in Game 1, knowing full well that doesn't mean you're giving up on Gus Bus at all, or that you'll never see him again through any of these series. I think ultimately, I don't know how many. It might be worth my trying to figure out before the Guerin visit tomorrow how many teams go 60-40 during the regular season, because that's what the breakdown was ultimately. 60-40 in favor of Gus Bus. And that's, I can even do that, Matt. That's close to 50-50. So how many teams share that arrangement to that degree? Because to me, when you're 60-40, you're almost 50-50, which means either goalie might be used in the postseason. And I tend to go with the who's hot deal. If you start one of them and he's brilliant, then I think certainly in the playoffs, you go with him game 2. You keep going with him until he cools, which is usually, inevitable. And then you say, we got another guy we like a lot, so we're going to put the other guy in there. And then if he gets hot, we'll stay with him for a while. And that during the season is kind of how it's gone, right? There have been a couple stretches where Gus Bus was rolling, and we're going to keep going with him a little bit more, and Gus and Volstead's going to play a little less, and vice versa as well. Get Conley on with Guerin and let them ask the questions. Not a bad idea. Probably a little too late to do that, given both teams are playing on Saturday on the road, but something to think about. Is Flower in the mix? Somebody wants to know. We don't think so. We don't think Marc-Andre Fleury is in the mix this time.
I thought I saw him on the ice, though, today.
Did you really?
Russo tweeted a picture and said Flowers on the left. And I don't know if he meant the guy in the pads. I kind of just glanced. But he may have been on the ice just getting some reps.
Regarding the Iron Range and mining, a good guest to have on would be William Kent Kruger. He's an author with a series of books where the main characters are based in northern Minnesota. Some books have mining and natural resource themes. I think he's Minnesota-based. He's a terrific writer and is well-known regionally, but nationally as well. That's something maybe we can take under consideration for next week as well. Let's get to the inbox where you, the listener, stars. And again, I would say I'm assuming there's going to be some Wild-related. I'm assuming there's going to be some Wolves-related, a lot of playoff stuff, maybe some Twins snark. Who knows what else? That's the beauty of opening up Dr. Dan's inbox. You're never quite sure where the listeners might indeed go. That is right around the corner here on the... Gaardsy, did you ever pay off the Portal News tease? In top five, did we run out of time?
We did. We ran out of time.
Why don't you go ahead and squeeze that in?
People like local angles, right? People love Minnesotans.
Yes.
Coming to play for the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Well, the dirty little secret is they actually love them more when they're really good. You know, they pretend, we love the truth is, we like winning here as much as anybody, but go ahead.
A former Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year from Orono, Nolan Groves.
He's back.
Is back. Went to Texas Tech. I think originally committed to like Yale or something, and then ended up going to Texas Tech for a year. Nico tried to get him a year ago. Couldn't get him to flip.
I heard St. Thomas wanted him.
But the second time around, wanted to play in the new building. They serve booze there now.
Kidding me? Yeah.
Nolan Groves committed, I think, late last night or early this morning, 6'5" guard, to come home and play for the Golden Gophers. So the Gophers have one of their first portal additions. The women got a point guard from Central Florida, Leah Harmon.
Okay.
Averages nearly 16 points a game.
Interesting.
Appears to be able to go get it. She averaged like 4 free throws a game. Good shooter.
Did I not see that that the Lynx have added an undrafted Golden Gopher to their preseason or training camp roster?
Amaya Battle, yeah, and she's already working out. The Lynx already put some videos out of Amaya Battle, so we'll see.
Interesting.
It's tough to make the WNBA. There's just not that many teams, not that many spots.
We added a couple of teams, though.
We did.
There's a little more opportunity than there was before. All right, is it inbox time?
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
JG at KFAN.com. We've gotten a lot of letters even within the last 10 minutes, so there's still time if you want to get in on the fun. I like this one. So I'm leading with it. Dear Dr. Dan, I guess when it comes to a good story, it's all about the headline. Looking back on my time covering the M Twins, here are a few I probably should have used. Jay Pohlad flies private jet to woo Darvish. M. Pelfrey's shoulders carry heavy load with another loss. Twins only have 2 hits, but concessions lineup is loaded. But it looks like I have another chance to redeem myself, Dr. Dan. What should the headline be for this news story with T. Pohlad calling out the fan wearing the Sell the Team hat? This from L. E. Neal III.
Yeah, so I got a couple of texts on this yesterday, did not investigate it. I meant to ask you, has this story been reported? Or is this just kind of a social media thing that had some video?
It's a social media video.
So what happened?
Well, I didn't watch it, but the guy, but the owner, he was clapping back at one of the fans. I think near the Champions Club, because the fan was, telling him to sell the team.
Well, was the fan being obnoxious, or was the fan literally just wearing a cap that said "sell the team"?
That I don't know. I think the fan had some interaction with him.
Some interaction.
I think, but
okay.
But don't quote me. I don't know.
So it was Tommy Pohlad firing back, and how heated did it get? Do we know?
Yeah, I think he called him classless. I think was the quote.
He called Pohlad classless?
No, I think Pohlad said something about class to the person.
Well, I have to know a lot more about the interaction, right? Because maybe the fan was being classless. How over the top was that individual? You pay a ticket. I don't want to say that you can do anything because you can't. There are limits. In fact, we didn't get to this yesterday. Are we still investigating the fan who allegedly told, who was the player who's talked about his own mental health challenges and issues, and he basically said, why don't you kill yourself? Mm-hmm. I don't know if we've made any headway on that. He played with the Red Sox, I think, right?
Yes.
Names escaping me right now, as most names tend to, but be that as it may.
Jaron Duran.
Yeah, that's it. I need to know more about, how obnoxious the individual was. If he made it, did he make one crack? To which I would say you're going to get that a little bit. But I don't want to judge it unless I have a lot more detail about, how ugly it got or how he didn't get booted, did he? The fan?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
All right. If anybody knows, hit the inbox.
Inbox.
I guess I should say.
We're going to stay in the ballpark here.
Okay, why wouldn't we? Hottest team in the ball.
Dear Dr. Dan, you start your show some days by calling yourself the a-hole in the afternoon. I think given our current records, second best record in MLB, I could be called the payroll a-hole. We don't need to pay guys the amount of money like your favorite player, S. Ohtani. We also could save more money as there are 6 teams who spend less than us. FYI. So will you start referring to me,
the payroll a-hole,
as the payroll a-hole? T. Pohlad.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's nicely said. That's nicely constructed and nicely written. Let's see how far it goes. Here, let me give you an example of how crazy and silly this gets. I've already seen written something to this effect. The Twins are clearly better than a lot of us thought they were, or are better. And I'm here to tell you, they haven't established that yet. I don't even know why you feel this. There's this obligation that we're supposed to all apologize for whatever position we had on the team. But it's now April 16th. We finally, are past the midway point of April, I think. And that means not that much baseball has been played yet. So the fact that the Twins are, what's our record now? Is it 11-8?
11-8.
11-8 doesn't prove that they are better than we thought. Mediocre teams can have stretches where they go 11-8. I don't know why we feel obligated to play this game when in every other circumstance we say it's baseball. You got to let this thing play out. I don't think there's nothing wrong with following the story, and if the team is playing well through a stretch, you report them as playing well. If the offense is providing timely hitting and, perish the thought, more disciplined hitting, where we're not flailing at everything, maybe not as concerned with launch angle, which some of us never understood from the damn beginning, and then we got mocked and ridiculed for it. Now, apparently, it's fashionable again to have better plate discipline and to occasionally take walks and not concern yourself as much with hitting home runs. If the pitching is going good, you say the pitching's going good. But we still don't know if they're better than we thought. There haven't been enough games played to indicate that they're better than we thought. I'll say it again. A year ago, they won 13 in a row. 13-0 through a 13-game stretch.
2 weeks.
Did that prove that they were better than we thought? No, as it turns out. So let's let the thing play out. I do like a-hole payroll. What was it?
Payroll a-hole.
Payroll a-hole, yeah. I do like that.
It's time for Dr. Dan's
Breakout says the fan didn't get booted but should have. Well, what does she do?
I don't know.
I need more info on what she did, but go ahead.
Dear Dr. Dan, it was nice being mentioned on the show. Seems like an eternity ago, I was parading around the clubhouse as naked as the day I was born. I love talking about ball in the good old days and would be willing to come into studio for an extended interview if you'd like. But just to let you know, I'd need to do the entire interview while being completely nude. I never wear clothes anymore, which might make the walk from the parking ramp into the elevator a little awkward for some, but I'd be cool with it. You could also disrobe if you're looking for some synergy and alignment. Let me know.
That's too good.
M. Redmond.
That's a callback to earlier in the show in our connector conversation.
Would you do an interview with M. Redmond if he insisted on being completely naked the whole time? I think I know the answer about you being naked alongside him.
Yeah, I'm not going to feel comfortable in that arrangement.
Yeah.
I have interviewed many, many naked men.
Yes.
In locker rooms and clubhouses. Now, the rules have changed a little bit, in part because more and more women are in the locker room. So the idea is, if you're going to have any interviews in the locker room or clubhouse, then everybody's wearing robes, which I think is fair and makes sense. It just creates less discomfort.
Yep.
But I don't even remember this, but, Bob Kravitz, who was a big shot columnist in Indianapolis forever.
Great city.
Went to Indiana University, got there, I want to say, maybe my senior year. The story he tells that I don't even remember is that the first time he interviewed Bob Knight, I was the other reporter. By then I was already working, I think, in Louisville. And he claimed that Knight was naked during the entire interview. And maybe I'm so, back in those days, was so used to it, I didn't even think twice about it. What's the most off-putting naked situation, I think, that I remember as a reporter?
What was the Dick Motta one?
Dick Motta, yeah, I don't even want to.
Is that the one?
Yeah, Dick Motta. The former Mavericks coach.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote a great story about him on The Athletic. He's a terrific coach. He was with the Bulls for a while. Yeah, his deal was, I got limited time. I was doing a story on Sam Perkins, the former North Carolina great, who by then the Mavericks had acquired.
Yep.
And he says, look, I'm tight on time. I don't have a lot of time. So you can ask me questions while I shower. So I'm watching Dick Motta take a shower. And nothing, it was fine. I wasn't, but it was just.
I'm watching Dick Motta take a shower.
When I look back on it, I go,
insane.
What am I doing? I know I wanted to follow the story, and I needed to talk to him, and I needed his quotes, but what are we doing?
That Perkins is great. We passed the soap, Dan.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
The most uncomfortable naked story, though. That wasn't it?
In general, it was the most incongruous nakedity would be in a baseball clubhouse interviewing like the visit. This might even go back to Atlanta days. This was even before Minnesota. And it's just this notion that it's a long time. I don't even remember who the manager would have been. It's not even important. Older manager, been around a long time. Though the managers, at least back then, did not have great BMIs, one could say.
Right.
And so he might be sitting in his manager's chair in the visiting clubhouse, naked, except for he's got the little shower slippers on. It just cracked me up. You're completely naked, except you got the shower slippers seemed even more ridiculous when you don't have anything else on there. And I guess you could say these individuals were incredibly comfortable in their own skin, being willing and able to sit there, and literally in this case, sit naked.
Hope the chair wasn't leather.
Legs crossed while they're fielding questions from stupid reporters like me. Anyway.
Unbelievable.
It's time for Dr. Dan.
So we'll think about the M. Redmond interview then.
Yes, we will.
Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, I understand C. Finch's point that everybody on the roster has to sacrifice come playoff time, but come on. I play 10 or less minutes per game, and after my performance the last 2 weeks of the season, I will not be happy. Ferocious dunks, defense, deep range is needed on this moody team. Maybe I should take some of DiVincenzo's minutes. Think about the speed on the court with me, A. DeSunmu, and B. Highland. Electricity would be an understatement. That's from T. Shannon Jr.
Oh, boy. I don't know what to make of this because when we've all fallen into this trap. I fell into this trap decades ago with a Timberwolves draft choice named G. Glass. This goes back to the Musselman era. That's
Second
how far
round
back
pick.
it
I think
goes.
that was the first draft.
And in what might be called garbage time, every once in a while, G. Glass would have like a 4-minute stretch where you'd go, Jesus, this guy looks like he's got some skill. And ultimately what you would learn is he's not very good. He looked good in a certain circumstance because everybody in a limited amount of time can look good, especially in garbage time. And I'm not saying every minute that Shannon played was garbage time. And I'm not here to say there shouldn't be a place for him. But be careful blowing stuff out of proportion and getting too excited on the basis of a couple of good games late in the season where everybody's in different roles. It's hard to gauge almost anything that you indeed do. Now, I know the betting money is the head coach wants to find him time because of the belief, it's more than a belief, it's just the truth, that Denver has no rim protection at all. If you can beat Denver with you beat the defender who's guarding you in the perimeter, you're going to get to the basket probably and you're going to be able to dunk because they just don't have any rim protection. That's not a strength. That's the one weakness, one could argue, of Joker. And that Shannon represents a guy when he goes downhill and gets ahead of steam, he can be very, very effective and ferocious. So maybe there is a place for him. I do think the head coach has sent the message out, as we talked about a couple of times this week. And that message is, I'm going to play whoever I want to play, whoever I deem necessary to play in a given stretch of time. And that might well be the message that Shannon might get some minutes if he gets some stuff going. But I know people are down on Finchie about young players and he's impatient, but Finchie's not a fool. He's got to also watch stuff in practice. And I have to believe if TJ hasn't played as much as you'd like, it's largely been because he hasn't done enough, consistently enough to say, who am I going to take out of there? I mean, Bones Highland, who I was always bored with, has ended up at times showing some promise, right? And some ability. He has been helpful to this team. And there's only, you can't play 12 guys. It says you're not okay, so you're not going to do that at this late date. So beware of that stuff. Could there be a window where he emerges? It's not unprecedented in pro basketball, but be careful. It's almost, I don't want to call it like the obsession we have with second and third string quarterbacks who look good in the third preseason game.
Right.
Because these were regular season games, but not that much at stake in those games. So you end up projecting too much because you're looking for something and you want to believe the excitement. Let's face it. The Wolves are going to sink or swim on the basis of their best players playing their best basketball, most importantly, on the defensive end.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, please help me understand the NBA's thinking with the punishment or lack thereof handed down to L. Ball. This was no isolated incident, Dr. Dan. He attempted the same shenanigans a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he did. I saw that video.
Shouldn't history have played a factor? Just
No.
ask D. Green. And in case you're wondering, Dr. Dan, still no apology, no call, and I've been checking messages all day. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, Dr. Dan. $35,000 fine, no suspension, no problem. Just called my accountant and had him set aside $35K for a rainy day because you know the storm may be coming. This from B. Adebayo.
B. Adebayo checked in, you say?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I think the league did about what I thought they would do. I didn't think they should suspend L. Ball. They awarded him a flagrant 1, I think. Now, I think it was worthy of throwing him out of the game if it had been caught at the time. We can argue about that, but they didn't suspend him. I think they fined him. Was it $35,000, did you say, in the letter? That's what they did. I'm fine with that. No, that history doesn't interest me as much. And the other occasion, it wasn't quite as graphic, or it wasn't quite as obvious, I think. And I don't even think that should matter. And let's be honest, the D. Green baggage, to compare any of that baggage with whatever L. Ball baggage you're talking about, it's minor league ball, right? There's no comparison to what D. Green has done, even though today we've been singing the praises of D. Green, right? Because of being the great, showing yet again what a great basketball connector at his best he can be. That's the reason the Warriors are living for another day. They've got a shot at actually making the postseason if they knock off Phoenix.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, we own the best player in the past century. We pay our players a fair wage and invest in our teams consistently. The best team in baseball and the World Series champions. So while you may hate the idea of interleague play and are bored with it, we like the idea of beating up on the peddlers in the A League. Regards, the N League, as in national.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there is, as we were getting excited about having the best record in the A League, a lot of that was that almost nobody had a good record in the A League because the N League was dominating to the degree that it did. I feel like we're getting a lot of that out of the way early here. Is that normal? I'm not exactly sure. Dr. Dan's a purist. I don't need interleague baseball in the regular season. I know for some people it makes it more interesting. Really? Does it? I don't really think that matters that much. I sort of like the fact that the only time you might play somebody in the other league would be the All-Star game or in the World Series.
Yeah, but the All-Star game's meaningless now.
That's true. But the World Series isn't, if you can get there.
Yeah, but only one team can get there. I kind of like the Dodgers coming through.
Well,
I liked the Brewers. Doing the thing with the Brewers was good. I liked that.
Yeah, we're happy for your little Brewers rivalry.
Cardinals, that's fun.
Yeah.
Cubs, your Cubs.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. It doesn't
go to Wrigley.
It doesn't move me as much as I thought it would when it first was announced.
Think about all the different ballpark fare you could try if you got into
That's true.
You could go to all the different parks.
That's very, very true, David.
Do a couple of walk-offs,
okay, let's do
including
it.
maybe the last walk-off we'll ever do.
All right.
It's time for
That's
Dr.
scary.
It's a little
Dan's
scary.
Inbox.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, I had a long and illustrious journalism career and a great life. But based on your description of some, dare I say, awkward locker room interviews, perhaps I missed my true journalistic calling. This from P. Kessler.
That's a good. I'll ask next week if P. Kessler ever interviewed a legislator, presumably male, naked.
Right.
And I'm guessing
I bet he
might
has.
embroider a story, even if it's not true, just because he'll want to play with the bit. I don't know.
I bet he has.
What would those circumstances be? Oh, I guess, is there like there's got to be like a locker room at the state capitol, right?
Or did they play at like the St. Paul Athletic Club,
Yeah,
like some
sure.
racquetball for a story, and then they had to shot? I don't know.
That's possible.
Hard to say. All right, here.
It's a very good question, though. I'll ask him next week.
It's time for Dr. Dan's
We got this letter
Inbox.
almost verbatim
Oh, we get letters.
3 times.
Letters every
From this 3 different people?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost verbatim. And you'll know what I mean here in a minute.
All right.
Dear Dr. Dan, the path of this ranger is beset on all sides by the inequity of the pariah militaries and the tyranny of spiritual leaders. Blessed are you who, in the name of pontification and spite, provide a distraction in the valley of professional sports. For you are truly a keeper of the record and the speaker for poor rubes. And you will know how much I am one when I regurgitate your bit at the Pentagon. Peace out. P. Hegseth. P.S.
Yeah.
I can't be the only one that didn't know the verse was fake. We got it 3 times.
That's brilliantly played, and I'm glad it got brought up to me via X as well regarding
I didn't believe it.
P. Hegseth. That somebody said, well, maybe he listens to the show. I doubt it. I will say...
He's local angle, Minnesota.
Well, that's what I'm going to get to. I'm pretty sure I said or tweeted something within the last 5 years that prompted savagery from another Hegseth. I don't think it was P. Hegseth. Does he have a brother? I think he does, doesn't he?
Probably.
It was definitely a different Heg. Well, I shouldn't say definitely. My recollection, it was another Hegseth going after me for something political. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Phil?
Maybe it was.
It Phil Hegseth?
It might have. I don't remember.
He's a senior advisor.
I don't even know what the subject was, but he was after me hard on whatever the subject was, which actually made me feel quite good about my position. But that's for another day. Yeah, that was that got a lot of attention, did it not? That it's not a real, it's not a real biblical quote.
Which, by the way, I never knew.
I didn't either. I guess I wasn't sure. I don't recall knowing that. It opens Sunday
sermons.
But it was. It does open Sunday sermons, and a lot of people said that's the first thing they thought of, which is great. And that's our letter writers are on top of it. That's a very good one. I'm glad they got back to it because I almost forgot about it.
Oh, there you go.
Let's wrap up. That wraps up the hour for sure. We're hitting the top of the hour break. I got a couple more details via one story regarding that battle between Tommy Pohlad and an angry Twins fan. We'll try to give you some follow-up on that and get to. There's another A-section story I'm itching to get to. If we can, we'll do it today. If not, we will save it for tomorrow's Friday Football Beast. Gaardsy, here's a lengthy story on the alleged byplay between Tom Pohlad and the Twins fan who was there with, I believe, her 13-year-old son right behind them. This is a story out of alphanews.org. You're familiar with the website?
Very much.
Alphanews.org. They describe what began as a pleasant evening at Target Field with her 13-year-old son quickly turned into a tense post-game confrontation that later went viral after Twins fan Andy Wentworth and owner Tom Pohlad exchanged words over what she says was an earlier in-game dispute involving her Sell the Team hat. Wentworth is described in this piece as a lifelong Twins fan, said she had no idea that Pohlad and his family would be seated near her when she purchased 2 tickets on the morning of April 8 for the Twins' 6:40 game against the Tigers at Target Field. These are rather choice seats, as one might expect. I did not go there intending to antagonize Mr. Pohlad. I was there to watch baseball. She said she and her son had been enjoying the game when he first noticed repeated looks from the family seated in front of them. My son kept elbowing me. They kept turning around giving dirty looks. At first, she said she brushed it off as the normal tension of sitting near other fans at a loud baseball game. But Wentworth claims the repeated staring continued. Wentworth said she initially did not realize who was sitting in front of her. Only after texting a friend and looking at it up did she realize that the man was Pohlad. That, she said, was when she turned her knitted Twins hat backward to reveal the words, "Sell the Team," a message she had added herself with iron-on letters. She talked about that's her frustration over the Pohlad family's handling of the Twins during last year's fire sale when they unloaded the entire team, as she put it. If you don't have the money or you won't invest in the team, just sell them. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Wentworth said a fan seated next to her offered to take a photo of her and her son, a shot that appears to show Pohlad turned around, casting a displeased look towards the camera. I'm looking at the photo. I don't know if I'd call it I don't know if I'd characterize it as pleased or displeased. In any case, Wentworth is adamant that she never asked for Pohlad to be included in the image. I was just getting a picture with my kid. This was not a malicious act. Wentworth said she believes Pohlad may have mistakenly thought she was attempting to take a selfie with him visible in the background while wearing the hat. She said the moment quickly escalated when Pohlad stood up and, according to her account, told her to, quote, "have some class," end quote. Caught me off guard. It was uncomfortable, she says. According to video posted by Minnesota sports account 10,000 Takes.
Oh, yeah.
The post-game exchange between Wentworth and Pohlad began politely. "Great win, Mr. Pohlad. Is this your lovely family?" Wentworth asked. "It is," Pohlad replied. Wentworth then asked the ages of his children. "They are 15, 13, and 11, he said. She then referenced what she described as an earlier interaction during the game. "How would you feel if I called you classless in front of your 13-year-old?" she asked. Although some of the interaction was difficult to hear, Paulette appeared to respond with something along the lines of, well, how would you feel if you wore that hat in front of my children? You know what? Wentworth replied, I had this hat on backward until you mean-mugged me the whole time, sir. But you know what? I'm glad I have more class than you and would never do that in front of your children. Paulette's response, okay, I'm glad you're perfect. All right. All right, great game. Go Twins. This is not going to be great PR for you, sir, Wentworth said. A separate report by Minnesota sports fan cited an eyewitness seated nearby who said Paulette initiated the earlier interaction, telling Wentworth something to the effect of have some class or get some more class before the exchange later captured on video after the game. Wentworth insists she never recorded the encounter herself and never intended for the moment to go viral. Person seated nearby captured the exchange and later spread it online after it was shared to TikTok. My lifelong ambition was not to go viral. That night, I only posted about meeting Tony Oliva, and I didn't even say anything about this. And by the next morning, the clip had spread widely across social media. I mean, like, what is this? This is one of the most random, strangest things that has ever happened. She did say the incident has left a lasting impression and changed how she feels about returning to Target Field. I will not go back, not anytime soon. So there's one version of it that's offers at least a lot more detail to it. So I don't know if that's an accurate rendering. It's the old deal of if your last name is Paulette and you're going to be in the building, you're never going to, I don't think, win if in fact you're bringing up the classless nature of the hat. In fact, the smart thing to do, in all honesty, if you're going to get into it at all or acknowledge it at all, is humor.
Yes.
The smart thing to do is, to have fun with it. You're never going to win engaging that way or making that the approach. And again, if you've decided to take on this responsibility and to be this visible,
that's it,
and to be the guy, that doesn't mean people have a license to abuse you in any way, shape, or form. But you're naive if you're in that role and you're going to decide, I'm going to fight this sort of battle. It's like, then sell the team or have some other pull ad down there, because that's not a game you're going to win if you're going to want to be as public as that. People have opinions. He's acknowledged they have reason to have their opinions. So then at that moment, it's suddenly classless for you to wear that hat in front of my family. Now, again, maybe she was more in his face in that regard, or in your face in that regard.
Mean mugging.
And mean the whole bit. I don't know. But you can't have it both ways. If you're going to be the public face and say you're embracing that role and all that comes with it,
yep,
then as far as I'm concerned, it's on you if it goes as pear-shaped as it seemed to here, and you're not the martyr. There's too many stories being written about you being the martyr. You're not. No one's forced you into this position, but you ain't going to win trying to fight every one of those battles for people who have the feelings that they do. You may not like the feelings that they have, but many people do, right? I mean, does that make sense?
I appreciate that Pohlad has been as visible as he has been. I haven't agreed with everything that he said, obviously, and he's obviously made some missteps, even saying, I'd love if we could just not talk about the payroll, stuff like that. I do like that he is more hands-on.
Yes.
Regardless of my feelings on if they should own the team or not. But if you want to be hands-on and show that you're going to be hands-on, you're not going to get, rainbows and butterflies from a lot of fans at this moment, at this point. You're just not, you're naive to think that everyone there is going to be super pumped to see you all the time.
Now, what is unknown is they make, I don't know why this is relevant, and this arouses my suspicion within the story, because it has nothing to do, I don't think, with attempting to cover whatever took place that night. These two paragraphs are in the middle of this story. While critics have accused the Pohlads of being reluctant to spend on the Twins roster, the family has not shied away from political giving. The Pohlads have been prominent donors in Minnesota politics. A Star Tribune report found they were the largest Minnesota-based financial backers of then Vice President Kamala Harris during the 2024 election cycle. Why is that in there? Now, what that comes off as is gratuitous to
They have money.
They have money, I guess, but beyond that it's the sort of politics one doesn't associate, generally speaking, I think I can go on that limb to say, with Alpha News. So does that mean, can I trust the rest of what you're reporting? Or is now the game that I want to bend this story in favor of the fan because we've noted that the poll ads were spending money on or supporting the Harris campaign, a notable Democrat and former vice president?
Right.
May have nothing to do with it. I just don't know why that's necessarily in the middle of it, because it has nothing, as far as I'm concerned, it has nothing to do with what's fair reporting on the exchange or what you get or what the videos might indeed be. And there are a couple people who've texted to say, look, if you watch the video, she's agitating a little more than you think.
Okay.
Maybe that's the case. But I'll say again, it's actually more incumbent upon him in his role to take the high road. And if you're going to be in that position, that's what you are signed up for. That, as far as when I say for, I don't mean to be abused. I don't mean anybody to touch you. I don't mean anybody to hurt you. But what I mean is there's going to be some uncomfortable moments there. And to me, comedy would be the better way to do it. The idea, if he ever uttered, well, how about the class of you wearing that hat in front of my family? That's not her problem that you bring your family to a game into a prominent position. If it's legal for her to wear that hat in the building, which apparently it is, then it can't be that then he gets to take a shot like, well, I've got my family with me. Why would you do that? You're in an official position. You said you want to own it, then own it. No?
I agree. And if you want to show you truly get it, like you said, you do the humor approach. You walk back to the clubhouse, you grab a pair of new Twins hats.
Correct.
And you say, hey, wear these next time. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
I'd love it. Or here's a $50 gift card to the Majestic store. Go buy another hat.
Right.
Help us out. Like, there's so many ways you can.
The whole thing is silly.
There's many different ways you can handle it if you're the owner.
Let's take a final pause. We'll give you highlights and lowlights from today's program and remind you what we have coming up on tomorrow's episode of the
Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper show wrap.
You know what's even better than having Russo Radio on? It's Russo Radio with a migraine.
Gutty.
Man, oh man, he was gutting it out today. I don't think that's what Quinnesota has. I think he's got some other illness. But we discussed the relative health of the two teams, injury updates, largely related to the Stars, in the hope that Quinnesota will be able to play. Apparently he was on the team plane headed to Dallas, Texas. Russo joined us at 4:02 today. Outstanding conversation with the listeners via Dr. Dan's inbox. That was between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. I believe those are our only two, scheduled bits, right? We did have news on the March today. I think that took place at 4:30 this afternoon. Covered a lot of ground there as well. Should mention that regarding the Jaron Duran story, that according to The Athletic, one day after he said he was told to kill himself by a fan at Target Field, a jab at his mental health that prompted him to respond with an obscene gesture, a person briefed on the situation said that an investigation by the Twins has yet to corroborate details about the incident. So that might be ongoing. Sometimes that's the difficulty, right? Is to actually find the person or figure it out, etc. But a troubling story there. Where else were we? Oh, there's one person bitter that we would quote anything in Alpha News. My position on that is, I think, kind of similar to my former partner, Chad Hartman, which is, you know what the site is, but there are some stories that seem to be reporting on factual information. In this case, he said, she said, in a way that sometimes has some very useful reporting. So the notion that you have to throw out the baby with the bathwater every time without being specific, I'm sorry, we don't play that particular game. It may be the road that you need to go down. And as it is, I pointed out the biases and even a couple of paragraphs that I didn't necessarily think it should have been involved in the story that might well call into question whether there is going to be an attempt to be fair to all sides as well. So I would say be careful you go too far down the snowflake road in that regard. This is a very precise situation or a very specific story that ostensibly had very little to do with politics and had to do with an incident that everybody's talking about. And I don't know if anybody else has reported in as much detail. And if there is more meat on the bone, if there are other versions, we will be glad to include them in the Friday Football Beast tomorrow. In addition, we expect Lavelle tomorrow. In addition, Bill Guerin will join tomorrow. Is he 4 o'clock tomorrow, you say?
Yes. Just after 4.
He has confirmed he will announce to the show, or to us on the show, who the goaltender will be. Well, actually, he didn't say that.
But you know what?
But we will do our best to warm it out of him, even though we don't expect to do so. By the way, is the Wolves starting lineup intact, as far as we know? No changes? We're not going to, Desumo is not going to be in the starting lineup? We don't think?
I think everybody's good to go. They're saying Ant's good to go. What did Mike Conley say to you yesterday? When the lights go on,
yeah.
I know he's going to be Ant.
Well, here's the thing. Just like we say, whoever the goaltender is for the Wild in Game 1, he should be on a short leash. Guess what? Every Wolves starter, as far as I'm concerned, should be on a short leash. Everybody.
Nas, too. Everybody.
You're right. Everybody.
Yeah.
Even the players off the bench. And I think that was the message that was that the head coach was trying to convey, saying we can't worry about stats. We can't worry about you get your mitt, whatever. We got to do what we got to do. Because I think deep down, I know Finchie's got to be disappointed with the fact that they're number 6. And I think he's saying, nobody should feel sorry for us. We put ourselves in this position, so now it's up to us to do something about it. They have that opportunity, but they still have to do it, even though not very many teams win NBA titles from the number 6 position. Has it ever happened? I think it might have happened once.
I'll have to go back and look.
We'll look tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Fan on Demand on the Air follows us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.